This is an uninhabited island on the Tennessee River. I am going to build a little oasis with reclaimed flood material that I find on its shoreline. All I'm going to do is repair and use wood that I find from the river to make a nice little spot for my dog and cat to relax and cook dinner. So that chair's been here for over a year and no one's claimed it. So I'm going to assume that if I use it, no one's going to get mad. That's my thought. I think we could do something with it. We're going to be here for at least a week. So we're going to, basically we're going to glamp this place up. We're going to make this into a resort area for us to be at. Quick and just talk about our sponsor for this episode. A few episodes ago, I did a special on lithium batteries, and Vader sponsored that as well. They've actually been keeping in touch with the channel and have sent me out a new 20 amp charger for that battery. So at this point, I need to run my generator once every couple of weeks to keep up with my power needs with that 300 amp hour battery from my house battery. So I really appreciate Vader by doing that. Now I'm going to be able to charge it and keep it safe. So I'm going to show you the information and links in the description. And now remember, with all of my sponsors, my links do get you discounts. So I got some plans here. We're going to do something cool. We've been kind of hanging out outside a lot lately, and it's getting cold at night, but not cold enough that I should light a fire and stuff. So I'm going to set up a little campsite right out here on the island with stuff that I find on the island. And I think one of the first things we're going to have to do is when you go up and down this right here, it's pretty sketchy. So we're going to add a stair somewhere in there. And look what's just been floated up in the flood. Now the other problem with the flood is there was a lot of dirt in the water, and it has, see, it's sketchy to go up this hill. It has I don't know, this was a green little grassy area 2 weeks ago, and now the dirt just settled on the grass. So I'm gonna come out here with the broom and kind of sweep off and, I don't know, clean it up and make it, because when you sit right here, when I'm sitting like this looking that way, the sun crosses the sky right there, and this is perfect. I mean, you can hang a hammock, you could set up the fire. Yeah, there's not a better view. You know, and the pets just run up and down the hill, and the river, it's a huge island. I'll show you how big it is. River can run all over it. It's really cool. So this will be the first time that I'm gonna set up an outside little glamping area. Leftover cut up pork steak, onions and potatoes, making some breakfast burritos. Now while that breakfast is heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and actually dig out a spot for the stair halfway up this hill. That's one of the biggest things about going up this area, is that if it's wet at all, you're going to slide right down that mud. Of course, Cricket's the first one to try it out. Let's watch and see what happens. I wanted to thank both Tim and JT for their donations on the last episode. The channel is always, sponsored by the people who watch it. So my Venmo link and super thanks are always available for donations at any point. I appreciate it, and remember, you guys are really the sponsors of the channel. Whether you're just viewing the episode, hitting the like button, or commenting, you're all doing your part, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Take a early lunch break. I made breakfast burritos, and then I had made some pasta salad. Put some hot sauce, basically potatoes, onions, pork cuts, hot sauce, and then I put some of that noodle potato salad right on it. It's gonna be good. Babe. Well, I have to say, I have a lot of this little glamping hangout that I'm making here is kind of, based on seeing this. It's absolutely 100% because I see this. In fact, if this wasn't here, I wouldn't have even thought of it. So, if this part doesn't end up being a main feature, it's going to suck. And as I'm standing here, remember this was all underwater 3 days ago. So I'm already sliding down the hill and I'm already in mud. Yeah, I slid 6 inches. So first step, rubber boots. Okay, so, this is what we're dealing with right here. These 2-inch thorns, they go right through boots, they go right through gloves. They're no joke. And the problem with a lot of these thorns, I'm pretty sure this is a honey locust. Problem with a lot of these thorns is the next 2 days and 3 days later, the oil hurts after the fact way worse than the original stab. Alright, so we're going to try to get under here and grab this thing. I'm going to see if we can come from the other side. Well, we're going to interrupt your day, sweetheart. Alright. It's very waterlogged. My guess is a little bit over 100 pounds. Grab the other end, buddy. Okay. You okay? First step is fix the damage. Missing leg, missing corner. We could speculate all day on how that happened, but I'm thinking a big drunk boy sat on the end of it. This morning we saw a bunch of wood on the river over there while we were going around and checking on the banks after the flood, so we need at least one board. We're gonna go. I noticed a staircase in these trees over here that the flood basically dropped off a actual staircase. I noticed that this morning, but then there was another board right over here. Yeah, it's right there. We're gonna go get that because we can use that as a leg and hopefully a couple pieces of it to make a little table. Yeah, look at that staircase. We'll probably use that at some point. We'll see. That's a lot of weight to throw on the dinghy, but who knows? We can maybe disassemble it and then move it. That's the board I'm talking about. Hey, River. Don't do that. Nope, nope, nope. Don't do that. Dear. We're not doing that right now. We're just getting wood, buddy. Quit being an idiot. Nope. Yeah, look at this long board. Oh, it's a double. It's a double. Okay. Alright. No nails. That didn't even take 5. That's the fastest run to the hardware store and the lumber yard I've ever made. It's basically, I mean, it would be, look at houseboats right there, and we just got the stuff from right behind us. So imagine if you lived right across the street from your lumber yard. That's what just happened. Makes up for all the times I gotta go an hour and a half to get salt. My thought is I'm going to use this one piece of wood to brace these 2 rotting pieces. Then the end piece is going to come and connect to it. And we'll put the leg right in this corner. Should be a quick fix, hopefully. That's the 3rd wrong bit that I have. You can't even think these are just not the right screws. You gotta see it differently, right? Got the right bit or the wrong screw. Ooh, okay. It's going to take a little more care. While attaching these 2 screws here, I realized that this 2x4 is too rotted to hold me. And now I'm putting an entire brace along the side here. This is the biggest patch we're making. It's 40 inches of wood. Essentially, this 2x4 is no longer viable to hold a 240-pound dude. So we're going to do that. After sitting in it, I realized I had to replace part of the arm on the left side and then attach the slats that are running underneath my calves and my boots here. Watch him dive on me now. Oh, I'm so cozy. I just want to rest and sleep in and never play with anything again. What do you think? What do you think, buddy? Is this a good place to take a nap? Oh, yeah! It's a good napping spot. I think Cricket and I are going to love this tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we're drinking coffee out here. Yeah. I might even just wear my long underwear. It's the long underwear hangout. That's what it is. That's what we do here. Okay, so I got these little lights. We have a fire. We're gonna cook dinner out here tonight. I got these little hanging lights. I am gonna put the spark arrestor on here, but remember it's flooded, so this is everywhere I'm walking is muddy. Even though you're hearing crunchiness, the ground is soaking wet. I have never seen any rule that stops you from having fires inside of a fireplace or a grill. Every rule I've ever seen is when it's really dry out, you're not allowed to have bonfires. Okay. But even the campsites that you get at the national forest, I could put this fireplace out and have a fire, provided I have the spark arrestor. So. This is a spark arrestor, and it stops ash that comes through the chimney from floating away. In most state and national forests, you have to have one if you are tent camping or like hot tent camping. Watch out, little buddy. I cleaned out the chimney when I took it out of the houseboat. I used a little chimney brush. I should do that more often. There was a lot more stuff in there than I thought. But I kind of think that's how a lot of me living out in the woods is. I should do a lot of things more often than I do. No, in about 10 minutes, when that fire gets hot, that smoke kind of goes away. When it's dry wood, you don't really get smoke. What you're seeing right now is the cardboard burning. There will be a point on every single fire I make. There's a point where you look at it, and if you look too quickly, you don't even know that there's a fire because it's crystal clear. But if you slow down, you can see the heat waves going through it, where it's like messes with your eye a little bit, messes with the light. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I was thinking, even when the houseboat's not on this little creek right here. Oh, the tea started boiling over. Even when the houseboat's not on this little creek right here, I could just come here with the dinghy and the dog and just spend an hour reading a book and relaxing in the chair here in the sun. Yeah, this is going to be a cool little spot, a little river hangout. Riverside hangout, that's what we're going to call it. So the tree's dead. The top of it got attacked by this huge vine, and then it totally broke off. When I was, maybe a sophomore in high school, we took these like placement testing, and there was a couple of courses that I tested out of and I didn't have to take anymore, which meant that I could leave school at noon as long as I had a job. So I got a job at a little corner restaurant near where my girlfriend's house was, so I could be there when she got off of school. And I was a prep cook, so I would show up for basically from about, it was 10:30 I would leave school and go to work until about 3:30. So it was what, 4 hours, and I could never work more than 20 hours a week because I was 16 or under 18 or something like that. And all I did was cut up every day. I cut up onions, like 100 onions into different ways to cut it up. Like I'd make the onion rings, I would chop the onions. If you ever want to not cry from cutting up onions, just do it underwater. Fill your sink, put your cutting board in the sink, and cut everything underwater, and it doesn't mess with you. And then just strain the onions right out of the water. So I would do carrots, I would do peppers, I would do everything that the restaurant would use during the day. I would cut it up in that time frame, and then I would clean for 2 hours. I even made the mozzarella sticks where I would take the big chunk of cheese and cut it into chunks and then dip it in the batter, bread it, dip it back in the batter and bread it again, and I'd have all the mozzarella sticks made for the whole night. And then I'd walk from there to my girlfriend's house, hang out there for a couple hours, and then my dad would be coming home from work because he was a professor and he'd teach night courses, so he'd come home around 6 or 7 at night and he would pick me up. And I remember just hearing his van going blah, 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 outside of my girlfriend's house. And I would run out there and go home and go to school and start it all over again. It's pretty cool. And then the school would drop me off after my last course. During the day, they would drop me off at work. It was awesome. So I'm going to throw the pork steak on, let it cook, get the pan nice and pretty much browned up, pull the steak off, throw the onions on with a little bit of butter, let them cook for about 5 minutes, real high heat. Then I'm going to throw the apples in last second for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Stir it all up, and then I'm going to dump that on top of the steak. And that's going to be my dinner. I really like this place. I'm going to come here. I'm going to come and visit this place more often. They've, really picked up the decor, and yeah. I mean, my boat's better. I'm not going to lie. I like it better just hanging on the porch, but this is cool. This is fun. I'm having fun doing this. And it's going to give me a complete reason to come here. For sure. And tonight when we turn on the lights and watch the sunset go down, it's going to be beautiful. And have a fire. I got a little movie going here. Yeah. One of the biggest differences in my life when it comes to now living aboard a boat or being on island time, Mornings and evenings taking a little more than an hour, sometimes 2 hours, to just watch the sun go down and watch the sun come up changes your life completely. I'll give you a little tour. First, we have our little cooking kitchen. Little hanging lights, like our ambiance. We have our coffee bar over here. We have our lounge area. And pretty much we have an entire island to ourselves. And then this is the view we get, because the sun's going to come up right there. Yeah. It's going to make its way across the sky over here until around 4 o'clock it'll hit right here. So. She's fired up. We've been watching one of the Indiana Joneses, and it's really good. Just making dinner. She's got herself like a little surround. She kind of dug herself in there. It's kind of cool. It's like 180 degrees. Some kind of animal probably made that, and she just happens to be sitting in it. And she thinks there's definitely something up here. Yeah, so we're outside and that new diesel heater is running. You can hear it, but it's not the same as loud as the other one. What a beautiful spot. Alright, so I want just a char. So all the juices have cooked out of the pan. I'm gonna move it back to the hot part of the fire. Let it sit there, and then we're gonna flip it. Do the same thing on the other side. Then we're gonna put it on the plate over here and put the top on there and let it rest while we cook the onions and the apples. So we got the pork steak resting. Just let off a little moisture. In fact, I'm gonna add a little water to get that glaze off the bottom of the pan. We're gonna let those cook for about probably 2 or 3 minutes. And here you have it. Pork steak cooked with caramelized onions and glazed apples on a campfire out in the middle of the wilderness. It's gonna be sunny all day. And it's coming up right now. Good morning, son.